Yo, welcome back to the channel. Kamusta po sa inyong lahat? Sigrika is out, people have tested her, and the question everyone keeps asking is whether she actually power creeps Cartethyia or if this is just another case of new character hype doing what it always does. So, in this video, that's exactly what we are going to be looking at. Looking for cheaper than in-game top-ups? Follow my U7 buy link down in the description and pinned comments for massive up to 27% discounts on your next WUWA top-up. They offer two safe and guaranteed top-up systems with their trusted direct top-up where you only need to provide your UID and server, and for even more savings, you can opt for their trusted login top-up. Both options are safe, secure, and guaranteed. Check my link down in the description or pinned comment and use my code VeeDizzy for an extra 5% off your first purchase. This is a safe and secure way to save on your top-ups while supporting the channel. Always spend responsibly. Now, back to the video. For this test, I decided to run both in the top floor of the middle tower of the Tower of Adversity. The area effects state that 60 seconds after the battle starts, Resonators' total damage is increased by 5%, and an additional 5% is gained every 5 seconds up to a maximum of 60 seconds. Enemies also have 15% increased all attribute resistance, which is removed after they take Tune, Rupture, or Fusion Burst damage, or Tune Strain Interfere. They also take 100% more total damage from these Tune Break damage. To equalize the playing field, I will not add supports like Mornier and Linne at first to ensure that there are no added buffs to Tune Break mechanics for both Sigrika and Cartethyia. Now, for Sigrika, she will be followed by Shoywen and Shorekeeper, while Cartethyia has Shakona and Chisa. So with this setup, both teams has no unfair advantages, allowing both DPS units to work harder for their clear times. And that's where things get interesting. When both teams run properly, Sigrika does come out ahead. The difference isn't tiny either. The clear time gap sits at around 17 seconds. Now, in a vacuum, 17 seconds sounds massive, and to be fair, it is noticeable. But this is where most discussions start going off the rails, because the immediate conclusion people jump to is that Cartethyia is now outdated or somehow unusable, which just isn't true. The bigger story here is not just the DPS numbers on the screen, but it's how much or how each team actually functions. Because once you lock in Sigrika's optimal rotation, the difference in feel becomes obvious. She ramps quickly, transitions clearly between teammates, and overall just feels faster to pilot. A big part of that is how short her supporting windows are. Shoywen typically stays on field for around 10 seconds, then Shorekeeper follows a similar timeline, and even Mornier. If you're running her, she doesn't overstay her welcome. The entire team cycles in a tight, efficient loop that constantly feeds Sigrika back into her damage phase. Cartethyia plays very differently. Her rotation is noticeably longer and more demanding, not just in execution but in structure. You're juggling more conditions, more setup, and teammates like Chisa and Shakona, who both take upwards of 12 seconds of field time. Individually, that doesn't sound too bad, but across multiple rotations, that extra time compounds and slows the entire flow of the team. That's why Sigrika consistently reaches her damage window faster. Her rotations are cleaner, her setup is shorter, and there's less friction between each phase of her gameplay loop. Cartethyia, by comparison, needs more time to get fully online, especially in extended fights where maintaining her setup becomes more taxing. So even if their on-field damage windows look comparable, the downtime in between is what stretches the gap. DPS in this game isn't just about how hard the character hits, it's about how quickly you can get them into a position to hit in the first place. Cartethia's issue isn't that she suddenly does bad damage, it's that her team takes longer to enable her. That delay adds up over multiple rotations, and that's exactly where the time difference probably comes from. Meanwhile, Sigrika benefits from a smoother rotation structure. Her team feeds into her faster, which means more consistent damage cycles and less waiting around. And that's why the gap probably exists. Not because Cartethyia got deleted overnight, but because Sigrika's overall system is just more efficient. Now, here's where it gets a bit more nuanced. Even with that gap, Cartethyia still has room for optimization. Cleaner rotations, better timing, and tighter execution can shave off a noticeable amount of time. You're not completely locked into that 16 or 17-second difference. But realistically, even with perfect play, Sigrika will still come out ahead in most cases. That's just how newer DPS units tends to be designed. They're not always massively stronger in raw numbers, but they're smoother, faster, and less restrictive. I also ran a follow-up test on that exact same floor, but this time I standardized the teams even further. Both Sigrika and Cartethyia were paired with Linne and Mornier, so they could operate under identical conditions and fully lean into the same tune break mechanics. No major advantages, no excuses, just a minor setup to isolate the DPS difference as clearly as possible. Now, with that controlled scenario, Sigrika is still pulled ahead, finishing the run about 9 seconds faster than Cartethyia. The gap is smaller compared to the earlier test, but it's still consistent, and more importantly, it reinforces the same conclusion. Sigrika isn't just benefiting from team structure or rotation flow. Even when you strip things down and give both units the same tools, she still edges ahead in practical damage output. It's not an overwhelming difference, but it's reliable enough to show up across multiple runs. So, if we're talking strictly pound for pound performance, Sigrika comes out as the slightly stronger and noticeably more comfortable Arrow DPS. She gets in faster, does her job cleaner, and gets out without dragging the entire rotation behind her. That said, this doesn't suddenly make Cartethyia a bad investment. If you already have her built, especially with her best setup, she's still fully capable of clearing endgame content without issues. Learning how to optimize her rotations will give you far more value than immediately jumping to pull a replacement. And this is where the whole should you pull question comes in. If your only goal is to clear content efficiently, then no, Sigrika is not a mandatory upgrade. The difference exists, but it's not the kind that blocks progression. However, if you value smoother gameplay, faster setups, and more forgiving rotation structure, then Sigrika does offer a noticeable improvement in overall feel. So the real answer isn't just about who deals more damage, it's about what you actually care about in your gameplay experience. If you're already invested in Cartethyia, you're fine. If you want a cleaner and more streamlined DPS experience, Sigrika delivers that. And if you're pulling just because you like the character, then none of this matters anyway. At the end of the day, this isn't a case of one unit completely replacing another. It's a case of incremental improvement where efficiency and team flow matter just as much as raw output. Sigrika is stronger in practice, but Cartethyia is far from irrelevant. And if you do not agree or agree, please leave a comment. Your comments and subscription entitles you to the weekly Lunite Pass giveaway that we have. So yeah, that's the difference people need to understand. As always, if this video resonated with you, please leave a like and subscribe. Ring that bell for massive gotcha luck and maybe a sandwich. Thank you so much for watching. Maraming salamat po and I will see you in my next video drop. Goodbye.